An airline flight from Malaga to Dublin has crash-landed in a field on the Dublin-Meath border, west of Dublin Airport. There were 61 passengers on board and 6 crew members. The aircraft came down at approximately 11:25 a.m. Minutes later, a full-scale emergency operation swung into action and the major emergency plan was implemented by 11:30 a.m. Local Garda and Meath County Fire Service were first on the scene, quickly followed by additional fire brigade units. A fleet of ambulances from across Dublin and the North East were also mobilised by the HSE National Ambulance Control Centre. Voluntary services such as the Irish Red Cross and civil offence units from Meath, Kildare, Cavan and surrounding areas were also called. Dublin Airport Fire Service responded to the crash with 2 airport crash trucks, 1 command vehicle and a logistics vehicle. The airport crash truck is a specialist vehicle for these types of incidents. Each truck carries 1,600 litres of foam and 11,000 litres of water. Garda and the HSE have confirmed there were 24 fatalities following the crash, while 6 others died in hospital. On landing, the plane collided with a number of vehicles. 15 people were injured on the ground, some fatally. As part of the emergency response, a field hospital was set up on site. Casualties were also transported to 6 hospitals in Drogheda and Dublin. The Irish Red Cross and the Civil Offence assisted with treating casualties and carrying them to the field hospital. The mobile command and control units from the Garda, HSE and Fire Service arrived and a communications plan was put in place. By this time, a local coordination centre was also established at Meath County Council headquarters in Navan. As news of the airline crash began to spread, the local coordination team prepared for a press briefing to the media. Information on casualty and fatality numbers, passenger information and their nationalities, the services involved, resources in place and assistance required was all being fed from the mobile command and control units at the scene to the local coordination centre in Navan.
At approximately 11:25 a.m. this morning, an Aer Lingus flight 012 from Malaga to Dublin Airport crash landed in a field approximately 5 kilometres west of Dublin Airport. About approximately 5 minutes later, the major emergency plan was put in place and the emergency services responded. The first units at the scene were units of the Fire Brigade from Meath County Council and in Garda Siochana, and following that ambulances from the HSE National Ambulance Service. We can say that at this stage that there were 67 people on board the aircraft, including 6 crew. A total of 82 persons, people have been were involved in this incident, including a number of people on the ground. At this stage, unfortunately, we can say that there were 24 people fatally injured at the scene and a further 6 who died subsequently.
The nationalities of people who were killed?
We are aware that there are a number of foreign nationals, non-Irish people on board, but at this particular stage that's subject to confirmation, so we cannot give that information at the moment. We hope to be in a position later on to do so.
Do you know if there were any children on board or babies?
Again, we understand that there was 1 child on board. There may be more. That's something that will be subject to confirmation. We can confirm at least 1 child on board.
Do you have any information on the type of injuries that people have been transported to the hospitals? How critical are they?
There was some people critically ill. They went to the various hospitals of various specialties that are being treated at the moment.
Where have they been brought?
They've been brought to Our Lady's Hospital in Lourdes, St Conley Hospital in Blanchardstown, Beaumont, Tala, the Mater and St James's Hospital, and some of those have subsequently been moved on to more specialised treatment hospitals as well.
Where have the dead been brought?
A temporary mortuary has been set up on site for those people who are killed or were found dead at the scene. for those people who died subsequently, they're in the various hospitals.
There's been reports on Facebook and Twitter that there may have been a terrorism threat in this plane. Do you have any information on that?
As I said, it's very early stages in the investigation to indicate any cause of death, and obviously, as with all investigations of this type, we keep a very open mind in relation to all of these matters.
Okay. We understand the ambulance services in the region were dispatched, nearly all the services. Did you maintain proper cover throughout Meath during this operation?
Yeah, that's correct. We did. There was 27 units that were actually dispatched to the scene. The first vehicle arrived around 11:45, which would have been about 28 minutes after the initial call. Sorry, 18 minutes after the initial call. So we did maintain services. We had to drop some of the outpatient transport services, but emergency cover was maintained and still intact at the moment.
What we can say is that the emergency services are still at the scene. The scene is now being preserved by Garda Siochana, and the fire brigade have been stood down at the scene. I'll now pass you over to Jackie Maguire from Meath County Council.
Just again, I suppose to confirm that the local coordination centre was established following the initiation of the major emergency at approximately 11:33 by the fire service. It remains in operation. As the Chief has said, the emergency services have been stood down at the scene at the moment, although one fire brigade unit still remains there should it be required. And from an environmental point of view, just to state that there has been no issue of risk to watercourse or pollution of any of that incident. And from Meath County Council's perspective, we have stood down from the scene at this particular point in time, just with the one fire tender remaining on scene.
Although this was just an exercise for the emergency services, the likelihood of such an incident could arise, and the Garda, local authority, HSE, ambulance service and voluntary services are required to carry out such exercises in order to test their preparedness, capabilities and working relationship in the event of an emergency.